Hey,
Hi, how's it going?
great.
You're in Nashville. No, you're in Austin.
I'm not in Nashville. I'm in.
A weird Airbnb in Austin. We have lived so many lives in a weird Airbnb in Austin.
Is it weird or is it okay?
Oh, the shot looks fine. It's just like spiritually, I know where you are.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
totally. Austin is a great town. It's very similar to Nashville when you're
Yeah.
driving around. It's like houses. You're living in a house for the most part. You're not living in an apartment building, and like ranch houses, and it's probably about 65 degrees outside
Oh, okay, flex.
in the morning.
Nice.
I know.
Really nice.
It's really
That's
nice.
no, that's not where I'm living right now. It
What's
is
what's going on there?
It's cold, it's snowy, and there's some people who just love that, and I'm so happy for them. And I think that that is so wonderful, and that is not me. I
Yeah,
think the snow is so beautiful. It's beautiful for 2 seconds in New York, and then it is so disgusting. Like
yeah.
I live in an intersection of highways and bridges and dirt, and like it's just like not pretty after a while, but that's okay. I don't want to be like I'm so sick of hearing myself talk about the weather. Like every single call I get on, I'm just like,
Yeah,
shut
yeah.
the fuck up, Natasha. Like nobody wants to hear about it. But anyway, it is beautiful when you're sitting in your apartment. The snow day was really fun. When you're an adult, there is no such thing as
Mhm.
as we all know.
Unless the power goes out, in which
Unless
case,
what?
unless the power goes out, and then you have some freedom to
Oh, then you're free. You're
go free.
released. Anyway, we have a great show today. We have a few guests that I'm really excited to talk to. Before we get into it though, I'd love to thank our amazing partners on this live stream. Octant. Are you going to do Octant first or should
Let's
I
do
do
Octane. Let's do
Okay.
Octane. Yeah, Anchorage and Octane are supporting this live stream. We're so happy to have them. Octant, our supporting sponsor, Octane, is well known in Ethereum circles for its tireless contribution to the Ethereum ecosystem through research and millions of dollars in grants and public goods funding. But 2026 is their product era, and Octane is now laser focused on vaults, which enables orgs and communities to build sustainable funding systems through these yield generating products. Direct your yield towards your own org's runway or funnel it into broader ecosystem efforts. It's all fair game with Octane's new institutional grade vaults. Earn, allocate, and grow Ethereum with DeFi, and some exciting news. Octane has migrated to their new app. So visit x.com/Octane app to learn more. Wow,
give them a follow?
I just did the x.com.
I know. Whoa, that was crazy to hear. I've actually we've been in meetings with a bunch of potential new partners, and I have found myself feeling like every time we're about to talk about I call it Twitter because she's my first love, and like how could I call her something other than Twitter? It's just like
You're loyal to Jack Dorsey.
Huh?
You're loyal to Jack Dorsey.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. But then I've found myself being like, oh, do people think that I'm like inexperienced around the internet because I'm not calling it X? Like, oh, she doesn't even know that it's called X.
You're like, well, let me just show you my screen time.
Yeah. I'm like, you have no idea. It's actually
in here.
Exactly. Anyway, so I've tried to be I've struggled to know what to say around it, and I have found myself saying X a few times and feeling like dirty.
Work, yeah.
Anyway, I had a really funny tweet yesterday that did not perform, but there was a trend.
I didn't see it.
That's what I hear from everybody. I missed it.
Let me see. Let me pull up Natasha G. Hoskins' full legal name on
full legal name.
White people will be like, my dog slept really good last night. That's funny.
Thank you. It's really funny. It's really funny. Yeah, there was a trend that two trends happening. One about people and their obsession with dogs, and then another trend about things that white people do. And I thought that was like a really succinct combination. But I feel like sometimes when you combined trends that are happening, cognitive load,
high mental load, yeah,
people can't do it.
I had one that I really wanted to tweet that I put in our internal Slack, but it never made it out, which was white people be like, my dog launched a meme coin.
Oh, that's so funny. Oh, wait, you never shipped that?
I never shipped it. It was just honestly for internal laughs. Sometimes, it's just for the love of the game.
Internal purposes only. I had a tweet, draft tweet that I sent to the group chat, and I was told you can't tweet that, and I was like, okay, fine.
Oh, what was the contents?
It was should I just say it?
What was it related? No, if I said no, don't tweet it. No, don't say it here. But I am curious, like just roughly.
It was a combination of it was when Depop, the announcement around Depop was happening. And it was a joke about I remember.
Yeah. Okay. That was also combining two things that were happening.
It was. And I was told
a series of files that were released that I don't even want to get.
We don't comment on. Kate said you should have tweeted it in the studio chat. I think she was referring to yours, not mine.
I think maybe she was. I just quickly not to bring it back to the weather, but I do hear the streets are saying that Mom Donnie did a good job with the snow removal.
Mom Donnie crushed it with the snow removal. It's actually insane. Like, I was talking to my sister yesterday, and she was like, "How is it? Like, are you okay?" Like, I was like, "Oh, I'm totally fine." And I was like, honestly, Mom Donnie's crushing. Like, the streets are fairly like clean. I have been having a lot of stress about AGI, the end of the world, unemployment, mass unemployment, like really like thinking we're going to talk a little bit about it today, but like keeping me up at night type thoughts. Mm-hmm. And I was talking to a friend who was in town this weekend, and she was like, Natasha was really nice, was being really kind to me. And she was just like, you'll be fine. Like, you don't need to be stressed. And I was like, okay, that's really nice. But like, I don't know that that's true.
I don't know that that's true.
I know.
I don't know what industry does this person work in?
Laura Jane Kenny. She's very smart. She's a very smart, very capable person.
Yeah, she's also a relentless optimist, which I don't know.
Totally.
Not to,
okay.
Not
okay. Don't stress me out. Don't stress me. I don't need more fuel on this flame. I do not need more fuel on this flame. But she said, she was talking about like the reading that she's been doing around it, some of the podcasts she's been listening to. And basically it's like revolution happens when able-bodied men do not have work, like throughout history. She was actually talking to me about the podcast that you're also obsessed with, the Rest is History.
Oh, she's a listener.
She's a Rest is History head as well.
I gotta text her.
I know. No, I said like you should text Dina. She's obsessed with it. And she listened. She's obsessed also. And she was like, basically, it's been really, it's quelled her anxiety because she's been like, wow, there have been so many inflection points throughout history where it felt like the world was going to end, and there's something that has happened that has made revolution happen or uprising or whatever. But basically the through line in all of these moments is when able-bodied men cannot find work. And then that's when like everything turns on its head and revolution breaks out. Mm-hmm. And she was like, yeah, that's probably going to happen. So Mom Donnie's America, having able-bodied men be able to go outside and work and make money. I was like, okay, here we go. Thank you, sir. We need more snowstorms, I guess.
Yeah. There's a little bit of a slippery slope, though, in that line of thinking, which the Citrini article, we'll talk about the Citrini article later in the show, but which it spends some time on, which is about how if people are losing their jobs to compute, basically, and AI is taking all the work, and we aren't as employed as we used to be, there's less income tax that's flowing through the system. And the government has
less ability to pay people,
less resources, and less ability to do some of the infrastructure work you're speaking to. Okay. So I like, yes, but asterisk on that.
Totally. I have found that you are not the person to talk to when I need to get talked off a ledge about this stuff.
Here's why, but it's a caring. It's a kind of
I know that it's coming from
kind of caring for you, because I want you to, I want for my friends to understand the urgency to future-proof themselves. And I think that like it doesn't come from a place of like me wanting to trigger your anxiety.
Totally. I know that.
We need to make sure that you're okay.
Yes, I fully know that. Two things I know to be true. It is coming from a good place, and it is coming from a place of wanting me to thrive in my life and be prepared for the best and the worst.
Yes.
Additionally, I know you to be quite catastrophizing as well as a person. So
really?
Kind of, yeah. Where you're like, this could be it. This really could be it. Could
it be? I don't know that about myself, but maybe I need to do some work.
Like maybe catastrophizing is the wrong way of saying it. Like maybe that's maybe that's the wrong word for it.
Mm-hmm.
But like you'll spiral into something. And be like, oh my gosh. And I have many very funny examples of
I've spiraled into a few health diagnoses lately that I have ChatGPT psychosis. Maybe I have some LLM psychosis.
Genuinely must stop using ChatGPT as a general practitioner. You have to.
Yeah.
Like as your friend, I've been on the other side of it at least 3 times in the last 12 months. And I'm there and I'm listening and I'm willing, but I'm like, this is crazy.
Okay. We should get into our first guest.
We should. Let's do it.
Great. Hi, Justin.
Hello. Good morning.
Hi.
How's it going?
I feel like I'm really close to the camera.
I also feel like it rearranged itself and we all got into a weird spot.
We're in a little bit of a slope here. There we go. Okay, thanks.
Do you have a little lamp or something you could click on?
I might.
There we go.
Better? How's that? Great. All right, perfect. We're in business.
Okay, Justin Brill, Global Head of Revenue at Anchorage. We're such big Anchorage fans. So welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you. We have a lot of Boys Club fans here too. So it's a really exciting collaboration, and it was awesome to see the ad go live and a bunch of people be like, this is awesome. And similarly, like a lot of good marketing, a lot of other people be like, what the heck is this? So it's all over the place. And given we have such a diverse base of clients, it makes sense.
Yeah, totally.
I want to just hold on before we get into it. I do want to make a little commotion for the ad because it's really good. And
if I do say so myself.
Yeah.
Hold on. Share
talk your book, right?
So if you haven't seen this, it's we have Kate here in the corner, and it's basically a bit on, I'd say like QVC, but also sort of like late night TV in the 90s. I think it's giving a little bit of that too. So, we just always love to disrupt the form here at Boys Club, and Anchorage. You guys gave us a really long leash to have some fun. So kudos to you guys for that. But do check it out.
I got some 90s nostalgia flashbacks to my youth for sure. So
nice.
Well done.
Justin, we're so excited to have you. There's lots of things we want to talk about, but the first question that I just kind of want to get your pulse check on is you were in Denver last week. You did some stuff with Anchorage. You spoke on some panels. I would love to get like a pulse check from you. Vibes on Twitter seemed not amazing, but I would love to hear from the horse's mouth. Like, how was it?
Yeah, I went in slightly pessimistic because of the reasons you mentioned, as well as the price of BTC, ETH, all the altcoins, right? And I came away with a completely different perspective and certainly much more optimistic. I've been to probably 6 ETH Denvers, I think now, and it's crazy to see how much they've changed over the years. When I think about the companies that were hosting the events, the first one was all DeFi, yield gen, mostly companies that you might have not heard of, was 2 or 3 people. It really felt like the pioneers in a way. And now you go there and you're sitting at a dinner and you got Visa on one side and MasterCard on the other. And it feels like the inflection point that we've been waiting for with all the institutions is here. And, there's still a lot of crypto native folks there. Don't get me wrong. And a lot of startups. It was 2 startups who were doing really great, who hosted that dinner, and they came to it, right? So it shows you that intersection that's happening. And it certainly feels very different than the events post FTX, where everyone was like, decimated. There were still a lot of super smart people who are convinced that crypto will continue to proliferate. So I came back energized and it's important to note we had a bunch of people all over the place at different events. There was Crypto Week in the Caymans, there was Consensus in Hong Kong, there's iConnections in Miami right now, and the same theme continues to exist. So I don't think it's necessarily even only a Denver thing.
Yeah. I heard that Hong Kong was electric and that the vibe over there is like very bullish and very much alive. And that made me feel good.
Yeah. I mean, if I'm honest, I think Anchorage brand is much stronger in the US than internationally, where we're trying to change that. We have a Singapore office, we have a MOS license, we've hired quite a few people. We're going to be up to 20 soon and have a big new hire actually starting on Monday. So yeah, we're certainly putting a lot of our efforts there, while continuing to focus quite a bit on the US with all the exciting developments and support from the regulatory perspective.
What's a MOS license? What's that?
The Monetary Authority of Singapore, effectively.
Okay.
It's like the same as, you go through the government process, you get approved, you get allowed to do all sorts of businesses. And yeah, we're lucky to have one of those. They're great government to work with.
Cool.
That's awesome. Okay, I want to ask you, before you were at Anchorage, you've been at Anchorage about a year, and before that you were at Jump. And Jump is sort of like this, to me, like, and I think of many people in this industry, like this very like legendary sort of like shrouded in mystery firm. And would love to hear from you, just from your time there, what you have learned about sort of the markets. Like, what have you taken away from that experience that has informed the way that you're thinking about your work now? And I think that the industry more generally.
Yeah, great question. I had 4 years at Jump, nothing but wonderful things to say. I agree. Like most of the high frequency trading community, they keep their cards very close to the vest. I maybe knew a little bit more about them in the space prior to that, because before making that move, I was on Wall Street for a bunch of years and covered them and all those other type of clients. But in terms of what I learned, I'd say the number one thing there, sometimes you have to take some concentrated bets, right? So Jump was one of the early people to go very deep into Solana, right? And so when I got to Anchorage, there's a bunch of new ecosystems popping up. And of course, we are a bank. We want to support every chain that we possibly can. We have over 600 assets live today. But Hyperliquid had a lot of mind share, for example, when I got here, and was like, okay, look, we could either just try to support the basics, or we could go all in every possible way. And we believed in it, so we did, right? We started not just the basic custody support, like full prime brokerage, staking, rehypothecation of assets. We started going to their events. We were sponsoring their hackathons. We started writing venture checks to some of the best protocols that are building on there. And then when we walked through the Hyperliquid event, everybody knew us. That was the same case in Singapore as it was in Denver. And I think when you show that you're not just, a provider, you want to be viewed as a vendor, right? You want to be viewed as a core, hopefully one-on-one partner. And I think that's the number one thing I learned from the previous experience, and what we're trying to do at Anchorage is really get deep on the things that our clients care about, as opposed to trying to just go surface level on every single thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What was your role at Jump?
I had a few different roles. We launched, essentially I was doing, we launched an early stage venture incubator that's called PIT. It still exists in Chicago. So we were doing that and hosting hackathons, writing a bunch of early stage venture checks.
Crypto.
Yeah, crypto, everything crypto related. And it was a blast. And like, it's crazy to see some of those, one of these projects, CoinFlow Labs, they came through the Jump incubator. They actually started as a fantasy sports project, and then realized that they had all these fantasy sports on chain. They couldn't get the on-ramps and off-ramps right. So as a hackathon project, they built some on-ramps and off-ramps, and they got way more traction doing that than with their core product. They pivoted. And then now they just had a $25 million Series A led by Pantera. Right. And they have a lot of traction. They're the folks I mentioned who hosted this dinner with all these partners at it. Right. So like things like that, it's honestly, it gets me, that's the progression that I was hoping to see. Right. Like the same as you get excited if I was when I ran a portion of the internship program back in banking, when you see these folks come through and then be analysts and get promoted, and then they're running a desk, it's like the same. You're watching someone grow up, and I get a lot of satisfaction out of that. So that's look, we're still grinding really hard. It's not all sunshine and rainbows when we're in the trenches, but overall, I've seen there's just so many opportunities at both Jump and Anchorage to help protocols, companies, people elevate themselves and achieve their goals. That's
awesome.
It's just so fun.
Did Wormhole come out of that incubator too?
That was a project that Jump actually bought Wormhole.
Okay.
Bought the team behind Wormhole. I'd call it more of an acqui-hire situation, and then they incubated the project, but that didn't come through. The actual like early stage incubator. Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
I asked mostly because, like, I'm curious what head of revenue. What does that mean? Like, what
you know, someone. So it's the same. I would use it interchangeably with chief revenue officer. And the easiest way to distill it down is you're basically running all of sales and marketing, and certainly a good portion of go-to-market strategy. And since we launched a venture arm, you know, it kind of makes sense to have it under there. So myself and another gentleman, Carl, who runs our protocols and investors business, are the co-heads of that. But mostly it's running and structuring sales, marketing, biz dev teams.
Okay. And I'm curious, like, you guys, Anchorage, as I've been learning about what you guys do and what you offer over the past couple of months, it's really full stack. Like, it's end to end in terms of how you guys are able to partner with your clients and the folks that you work with. And I think like that can sometimes make it like the type of person that you're trying to reach very like specific. And I'd love to hear from you, like, who it is, who's the persona of like who really you're trying to reach with Anchorage.
Yeah.
One thing I'll add to that is because I think a lot of people think of Anchorage just as a crypto bank, which is where so much of like your partnership and legitimacy has come in the industry. But I think I know that there's a lot more that you guys are up to. So yeah, to Dina's question, I think, how do you find those personas for the variety of products that you guys can offer?
Yeah, it's an incredible challenge. You know, our CEO and co-founder Nathan says that every institution in crypto needs to have an Anchorage account, right? So you have to find a way to market to the BlackRocks and the largest banks in the world, right? Because we do have many of those as clients. We have a publicly announced partnership with BlackRock for the ETF side, right? So you have to find a message that resonates with them, and these people, you know, they don't show up at the same places, dress the same, talk the same, consume news in the same way as protocol founders, right?
Yeah.
And increasingly, I do think that gap is narrowing quite a bit, but that's why we have to put on suits and go to fancy capital introduction events, as well as throw on hoodies and do retro 90s, you know, infomercials that like founders will dig. And yeah, look, like we've tried to structure, again, I think we've tried to specialize our organization so that, look, you can't ask the same type of people to necessarily cover all those clients, right? So we've tried to break it down by client segment and then mirror that structure across every level of the organization, from marketing to sales to middle office to operations and client service, and try to have that consistent experience. But yeah, I think you're right. Anchorage is a one-on-one company. It's so much more than just custody. But as I've seen these parallels of the worlds of, you know, TradFi and my old prime brokerage banking experience converging, I really do think of us much more. I mean, if you go to our website, it's very clear, like Anchorage Digital Prime. And keeping your assets with us, first of all, you know they're safe and secure, but that's what opens the doorway to the rest of Anchorage's services, whether that's the execution desk, we have OTC, amazing 24/7 coverage, derivatives, financing, you know, protocols are using it, hedge funds are using it. Many, you know, there's a lot of value add of doing that. And if, you know, you don't have everything within the walled gardens already, it makes it a little bit more difficult to interact with your assets. We're rolling out a whole slew of fiat capabilities. We have an incredible stablecoins offering, a publicly announced partnership with Tether to bring Tether to the US, and that business is growing. So you're right, it is a lot to sort through. And I think if you throw everything out there, either on this podcast or in a client pitch or whatever, it can be a lot to digest. So we usually start and ask, what are your biggest problems? You know, how can we help you solve them?
Yeah. Well, you guys also just acquired Hedgie.
Hedgie, yeah.
Okay.
Hedgie.
And my understanding of what Hedgie is, and correct me if I'm wrong, is it's basically like Polly, but for token management. Is that like Polly's like the equity? Did you guys ever use that? Like I had a job where I was like, oh, I need.
It wasn't
heard
Polly.
of
It
it.
was Cap.
No, Polly's for equity. It's not for tokens, Dina. It's like for.
Yeah.
No. There was another one that like we use at Indiegogo. That was like the Cap.
Yes.
No, that we use with our startups. That was like.
Oh, that website. Every time I went there, like I like felt like
had
I
an
was
anxiety attack.
Totally. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
What's
What's Hedgie? Yeah, shout out Lindsay and the Hedgie team. Amazing how seamlessly they have integrated into Anchorage. They brought incredible, to answer the short version, if I could, it's a token vesting platform, right?
Okay.
So they've built hedgiepro.com. There's a HEDGEY in there, Hedgie Pro, a new platform integrated, purpose built for Anchorage. I mean, they had an amazing offering already, but this is really, yes, full stack token management, entire cap table. You can track all your allocations, vesting clips, grants, automate your stakeholder management, execute all the token distributions. We just found that so many people would use us for all of these pieces and then be like, all right, now send this, like, now can you interact with this other company to do this thing that is certainly important, but we felt, again, if it was all in-house, that it would be a huge value add. So, protocols and founders can focus on building and growing their product, community, adoption, and not the operational risk that comes with trying to do all this stuff yourself. And that was the idea.
Okay, given just sort of your vantage point, being able to see lots of different, like, and have a touch point into lots of different areas of different crypto and more TradFi businesses. And I know we spoke about the vibes at Denver specifically, but just like zooming out, what's your feeling on the market and the cycle that we're in right now? And what feedback are you getting from your partners?
He's like, I love the prices right now. They're amazing. The prices are great.
I mean, when you do listen to, at the height of the bull markets, when you listen to some venture pitch and there's two people with no product and they're telling you they're raising at like a 75 million valuation, you know something's off, right? Like that doesn't feel right either. So, but that said, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Sure, things are a little tough and certainly a bit difficult on founders and builders. I think most people are still heads down shipping their product. Look, the reports have come out, venture funding is slowing down, Anchorage Digital is still writing checks. We had an investment committee meeting last night and agreed to write one or two more. So there are still, many VCs that I know, like we have many of them as clients we're co-investing with. There's still capital being deployed. Yeah. We saw Dragonfly's fund was oversubscribed. That came out last week, right? So look, we've been through all these cycles before. Usually, like peak to trough is somewhere typically around 12 months. Could it be longer? I'm not a trader. I'm not a quant, so like I'm just basically regurgitating what the smart people have said here. But like, I don't think anyone, like no one here believes that Bitcoin and ETH are going to zero, right? Like we're still all in on it. And, Nathan had this, we have a company meeting every Friday where he shares quite a bit about what's going on at Anchorage and people post questions and it's kind of like an AMA style thing. And someone said, like, what do you think's going on? Some competitors, rumors going on about cutbacks and layoffs or whatever. He goes, I swear that someone reached out to me and said, how you feel about this storm that's coming? And I looked outside. I thought he was talking about the weather. I'm just so focused on what we're doing. I didn't even think it was crypto related. And I think that is sort of like, you don't want to be blind to the realities that are out there, but it's also like, stock markets crash, bond markets blow out. It's not like this is unique to crypto. And
totally
think about like, we're freaking out if Bitcoin is in the 60s, right? Like imagine just a few years ago. It's, it's easy to lose perspective sometimes.
For sure. Okay, last question here, and then we will let you go. But I know that obviously the sort of meta for this cycle is stable coins. Everybody's talking about them, and you guys are building products around that. What is your thinking around it? How are you guys sort of approaching this at Anchorage?
Yeah. There's a Bloomberg article last year where we shared that we were going to, I think, at least double the size of our stablecoins team. And I think we may have quadrupled it because, it's it's been blowing up. And then, yeah, I'd been aware. So the guy sat next to it, Jump, who's now the co-head of crypto at Brevan Howard, Peter Johnson, he was screaming about stable coins in like 2021, and everyone was like, what are you talking about? So like it's insane what happened in 5 years. It's the most successful crypto product that has ever been produced. I think we can all agree that they've gone from a trading tool to a settlement layer for global commerce. So why are we all in? I mean, there's so many amazing use cases, whether it's cross-border payments, whether it's large companies or banks that are considering releasing their own stable coin, whether it's our premier partnership with Tether, and we have huge aspirations for USAT. It's with Genius passing, it's really federally compliant stable coins can be issued, and that's where Anchorage Digital Bank really comes in. We have all this federal oversight. I really feel like where we're going is the distinction between stablecoin payments and the concept of overall payments will largely disappear. So yeah, the two fronts we're attacking that through are stablecoin issuance, like the partnership with Tether and Western Union and others to be announced, as well as something we're calling stablecoin solutions for banks, which just launched this week, and it's going to allow international banks to really participate in USD rails. We have a couple premier partners lined up and many, many more to come. And we really feel like, the winners of this race will be the ones who build to operate under real oversight, real distribution, real operational rigor, while still allowing that instantaneous money movement to happen. So yeah, Sergio Mello leads our efforts there.
Cool.
He's built out an incredible team. And
I like
excited for everything ahead.
I like your point on stablecoin payments. It's like drop the stablecoin and it's just payment.
It's cleaner.
Yeah, right. It's gonna happen.
All right, Justin, thank you so much for your time. It was fascinating to hear what you guys are up to, and I'm sure we'll be hearing more soon.
Yeah, this was so fun. Would love to come back on a future episode. So thanks. Keep up the great work, and talk soon.
Talk soon.
Thanks.
Bye, everybody.
Right.
Nice guy.
Really nice guy. I enjoyed our chat with him.
Me too.
And love the folks at Anchorage Digital. And I want to share about them. We love them. This episode is brought to you by Anchorage Digital, founders and protocol builders stressing about your TGE. You need to get in touch with them. They're the first federally regulated crypto bank in the US, which means they can offer crypto startups and other disruptors actually reliable USD banking services without the usual headaches. They're a one-stop shop and can support you end-to-end on everything from minting and distribution to treasury management, as we heard about today. Anchorage Digital has expanded institutional access to on-chain finance. New integrations with Camino on Solana and Morpho allow clients to execute borrowing and vault strategies directly from the safety of their federally regulated platform. So protocol founders, TGE with confidence, and launch with the support that's helped some of the biggest and most complex businesses in the world go to market. Visit anchorage.com to learn more. So today and yesterday and today and tomorrow, I've been working in like an office, like a office of like a real
with like cubicles
financial company. Like
yeah.
In,
we're working with a big financial, very serious financial,
very serious traditional TradFi firm. And they're based here in Austin, and that's why I'm here. That's why the trip. And anyway, I was just looking at myself, and I was looking at my hat, and I just realized and remembered that I'm not going to be able to wear this.
Probably not.
I'm gonna have to
ask you. You're gonna sport the hat on
also,
the way
my
there.
Denim shirt. I don't know that my denim shirt. They're in heels. Like it's
also Texas. It's like a Texas. It's not only.
It is.
It's double.
It's double. Although I just want to say it's been years since I've been in an office. Like I don't. Like co-working, whatever, like we'll go into the Malin. That's not the same thing as like the rooms
it's not the
with
same thing.
Desks and computers and booking meeting rooms, and people are in heels, and there's a communal fridge where people have their lunch, and then there's the snacks with the cheese and the chickpea chips and the
totally.
And that's the experience, and it's just it's crazy. I part of me likes it. I don't know if I could do it every day, but like
I would certainly need a wardrobe rework.
Yeah, totally. I went into the Coinbase offices a few weeks ago and not the same because everybody's like in hoodies and
Yeah.
honestly, I was just dressed normally and I felt like everybody was like, wow, you're like swagged out. And I'm like, what? So it's not like the same, but my feeling was kind of like, y'all are like spoiled. Like you're spoiled and like you should be
Because of the snacks and the treats and the Wi-Fi and all
the lunch provided. Like
they have lunch provided. Whoa.
Yeah. And like the screens, the setups. I'm just like, hey, you're being babied. You're being babied to do your job. Like, come on, give it. You should be giving it 140% with this amount of coddling that's happening in this space. But I don't know. That's what people are used to, I guess.
That was like similar to that. This was not specifically about Coinbase. I'm not speaking about them, but it was, I think about like, I don't know, maybe Google's office in New York or something that they were talking about it as adult daycare.
It really is. It really is. It is adult daycare. Wait, you were going to show me a chart and then we got distracted.
Oh, I was going to show you. For folks who are new to the story, Zach XBT, the investigative Twitter account that we all know and love, he posted earlier this week that he's going to be exposing one of the most profitable crypto companies, that's in quotes, for employees doing insider trading over a prolonged period of time. And he dropped that tweet on like Sunday or Monday, and the speculation has been going wild since then.
Well, I saw a hilarious tweet that was like all crypto projects being like basically like a relieved meme at the word profitable. They're like, whoo, we're good.
Yeah. And so anyway, there's been so much speculation.
What have we got here?
Everyone's pointing fingers and someone is going to have a very, very bad week. So this got spun up a couple days ago, and just the thought of whoever is about to be exposed doing insider trading at one of these companies, then going and doing insider trading
Russian doll insider trading.
They're like, fuck. I mean, I know I'm going to be exposed anyway. Might as well just make some money on it.
They're literally thinking, this is the last job I'm going to have. I got to clean up.
Totally. So honestly, like factor that into your trades here.
Okay, my money's on pump. My money's on pump.
Yeah, I just don't like I don't know that they're profitable anymore. So I think that would have been a very generous thing for Zach.
Oh, I think they are certainly.
I was thinking it was Binance, but them coming so low down here, I don't want it to be an exchange. I think that would be devastating, but for the industry. But I was worried at first that was.
I think part of why I'm supportive of it being pump is like that feels just absolutely
totally
like obvious, and
I would expect nothing less.
Exactly, like expected. Yeah, exactly. Anyway, okay.
I do want to bring up our guest, but one more thing is that. Just want to say Gemini.
Wait, can you scroll down? I want to text some friends that are on this list, basically.
Nice.
Comment. Cool for comment. Yeah.
Gemini. This could be a sleeper agent, sleeper hit, because there was a news story that went out yesterday that was about a bunch of their senior leadership resigning. Yesterday.
Really?
So
okay,
who's to say? We're in the red line meme. Obviously all this is speculation, but like I don't know that you have really good odds if you hit one of these ones down here and it goes.
Are you gonna put some money on it?
I'm gonna put some money on it. Yeah, I'm gonna put some money on it.
Also World Liberty Financial. I mean,
yeah, also... I don't know that you would count those as profitable. Like I don't know, but maybe. Anyway, let's bring our guest up. Oh, Nick. Hi. Oh, we have an audio issue. No problem. So while Nick is connecting his audio here.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Oh,
hi.
All right. Hi, ladies. Sorry about that.
Hi. Nicholas Cary, blockchain, not blockchain.com anymore, just blockchain, co-founder and vice chairman. Welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you for having me.
So
I heard you guys gossiping before I got here all the spicy stuff.
I won't ask you to weigh in. I'm tempted to ask you to.
Me too. I'm really tempted.
I don't know anything. I'm just old grandpa in crypto now, just trying to make a few Satoshis.
I love that. I am curious if you've been seeing some of the stuff. This is also spicy, and you can feel free to pass. But if you've been seeing some of the Jane Street drama that's been unfolding on the timeline.
Yes, like some of my friends here, I spend too much time on Twitter, and I saw that pop up. I mean, I think what you're really seeing there is just a relitigation of, trying to find the matches and the conflagration that burned down the crypto industry that year. And I'm not surprised. It's a little bit like the Epstein files. Like every few months, there's just like some new salacious accusation or detail. That was a very dramatic period of time in crypto, and no one wants to be, responsible for it. But there was a lot of, leverage in the market, and I think there's certainly some questions about how people behaved. And the good news is a lot of the bad actors, I think, were really wiped out in that era. But it was extremely painful for the survivors. And we're still reckoning, obviously, I think, with, the he said, she said, and who was responsible, really. But the specific accusation here, I have no ability to comment on. It looks like, someone is claiming someone else did something, and they'll fight it out in a court probably if they ever get to that point. But that specific incident was brutal because basically when Terra Luna collapsed, you had this algorithmic stable coin. And this is a quick history lesson from the last bear market. Yeah. But basically, in a lot of ways, that collapse sort of cascaded into a series of really dramatic and catastrophic problems. And our industry has been through some booms and some busts, but this one was like a series of these that kind of tipped over one after another. And it would have been bad to go through one of those in a single year, but it went from that to Three Arrows Capital to Celsius to BlockFi, and then famously all the way out through to FTX, blowing up too. And so I think people are very interested in the causes of all of that, and it's very warranted because we need to study them so we can learn to make sure that never happens again.
Yeah, I have a little bit of like remember where you were when, like, I have so
I'll tell
many
you a funny story about that.
Just like really visceral moments of each one of those. And it was also during a time where Dina and I had been working on Boys Club for like a year and a half ish with other full-time jobs, and like just burning the candle on both ends, trying to figure out when we were going to like jump in full time. And then
like a crazy this mic like you guys are doing now.
I know. I'm sorry. I don't have a stand, so I'm traveling, so that's why it's not
all good. No, I feel like I'm more at the club now.
There you go. Anyway, I like quit my job and went full time into crypto during this period, which I'm just like, that's an insane person move. But anyway, you get addicted to the, I guess.
You get a Medal of Honor in crypto for that move. Well done.
Thank you.
And a survivor's badge.
Okay, wait. So what's your funny story around where were you when?
I don't know how funny it is, but basically, like, we had an amazing year and the market was going, it was very very wild and healthy and all that. And I was actually getting married in July of that year, and basically, like, we had done all this planning, and it was like, all these ideas we had about, honeymoons and all these other things. And then it was just like, sorry, love, like some of the plans we have are going to be a little different. So that was all happening literally like the day of my wedding. But
wow,
I'd say like your enemies don't choose, they don't pick the dates and times that are good for you for things to go wrong. So yeah, it is what it is.
Brutal.
I hope you've made it up to your partner.
Yeah, she's all good.
Okay. Okay. So I want to blockchain. I don't want to call it blockchain.com, but blockchain. You
can find us at blockchain.com.
Okay. You guys have been around for like so long, and that's so rare in this industry. You've seen so many different cycles. I feel like you've probably seen it all, basically. So 2013, I think, is what the date was when it was founded.
Yeah, there's it even predates that a little bit. So everyone has a different story about when things start, but for me, it's like when the website was registered, and so you can look into who is on the domain side. In October 11th, 2011, or sorry, October 15th, 2011 was when we registered.
Wow.
So, yeah.
That was only 2 years after the Bitcoin white paper
network had basically been launched. Yeah. So it was very, very early on, but we started off actually building basically a statistical website. It was super nerdy. It was just a way to look at the Bitcoin blockchain. And the first project we had ever built was something called a block explorer, which some people will be familiar with, but it's basically like a search engine for looking at a history of transactions on chain. And that was a really popular kind of initial website. And that's kind of how we all got into it, was just building stuff and listening to people and asking them what they wanted to see.
So what's your journey been like since 2013? I mean, that's
yeah, it's a lot. Look, we were very early on. I think one of the things that we were really passionate about was working on building the early kind of tools that would be necessary in order for regular people to start to interact at the time with Bitcoin. And so we were well known for building essentially the world's first non-custodial wallet. And there are a lot of terms now. You might hear the term DeFi wallet, but an on-chain wallet or a non-custodial wallet means like you as the individual are responsible for holding custody of the digital assets you store in that. Just like the wallet you might put in your purse has cash instruments, has identity instruments, has credit cards and more. Well, what you put in your wallet is yours, and then you have to protect that. That was a really popular product though, because in the early days of Bitcoin especially, but in crypto in general, and even as recently as 2022, 23, we learn over and over again that if you put individuals in control of vast sums of access to people's information or money, there's some perverse incentives. They want to rent seek on that data. They may want to front run it. They may want to, or they may be compelled to exchange information about it, or worse, that data can be stolen or the crypto can be hacked. And so there were a lot of these compromises happening, famously Mt. Gox, Bitcoinica, and many others. And so people were looking for an alternative way. And we really believe truly in some of the original foundations, especially of Bitcoin, which was to really empower end users, to make individuals the agents of their economic sovereignty. And so we built the world's first wallet that was available in the iOS and the App Store. Became popular for that reason. And being early in crypto was really important. A little bit like being an early pioneer in the West, you get to take some of the important real estate. That was quite true in the world of Web3, because you wanted to be early with the earliest vintages of adopters.
Wow. And so when you came into this industry, it's so early, like I can't even imagine, but was your conviction...
It was not an obvious move.
Yeah, clearly.
Was your conviction around, like, did you read the white paper and think, okay, I understand where this is, like, I can see where this would be going. There being early is going to be huge to all this. Did you imagine we would be where we are today, where we have like Stripe founders talking about stable coins? Like, I'm curious what made you make that move when it was such a surprising thing to be doing at the time?
Yeah, I think a lot of people were, people would say things like, that's very high risk. It's untested. This thing's probably never going to work. I think crypto is a Ponzi scheme. It's only used by nerds and dorks or worse to buy narcotics on the internet or whatever. And, all of that was kind of true. But what I was really interested in is really there's sort of two things that govern how I invest my time. Is one, did I feel like I would learn a lot? And two, did I feel like I could be influential in working on whatever we were doing? And that was very true about working at blockchain.com. And so the white paper was really intriguing to me because I graduated in 2007. The great financial crisis was like very present in my mind. And I was appalled by the behavior of leaders in the world. I couldn't believe how that had been so poorly managed. These individuals that we'd been told were responsible, adults in the room, they had all this regulation to protect consumers, and then they just blew it. And it was, I really I took that very, very seriously. And when Bitcoin came around, to me, it was sort of such an interesting alternative. And I didn't know what would happen with it. But I thought, well, if there's a way to build something here that eliminates some of these nefarious incentives. And to me, the financial system has a lot of challenges around managing conflicts of interest. And so, was there a way to build a mechanism to do that? And I think Bitcoin was such a novel idea. You have a decentralized record keeping system. There's no one person in control of it. You have peer-to-peer electronic cash for the internet, and it doesn't care what color your skin is or where you were born or what your credit score looks like. So to me, building a financial system that would enable all people, regardless of the circumstances of their birth, to be able to access it and then perform economic commerce on a meritocratic basis, those were things that were extremely interesting. And I thought if we could build that and scale it, we could build a better, more resilient financial system that worked more fairly for everybody. Mm-hmm. And that was, I believe that 14 years ago, and I believe it today. And I think we have a lot of work to do still. We're by no means have we achieved the end state. Now, if you had told me 10 years ago or 14 years ago, you're going to be on a podcast and Bitcoin will be at $65,000 and the president of the United States will be talking about it on the national agenda and there's regulatory regimes. And, I would have been like, that's incredible, amazing progress we could foresee to be made. And so, that being said, I do think those of us who've been working in the space for a long time, you have to draw on deep wells of patience and think through the long term here, because the building this all out requires progressing it in such a way that people voluntarily cooperate with it, and it's a better, cheaper, faster, more resilient alternative. And we just always have to have a customer centric focus because we want to win, because it is just a more obvious alternative that works better for everybody. And I think we're getting there. And every few years, people are reminded why they shouldn't put their money in a Venezuelan bank, or what happens when politicians debase their currencies. We have rapid inflation, and there's this is never going to change because the incentives that are designed in the old financial system are very rent-seeking and perverse to the benefits of most of the people that participate in it. And so in the long run, I think we got market conditions that are in our favor. We have economics that are in our favor. And then as a technology solution, we have scale in our favor too. But we got a lot of work to do.
Yeah, I think something that you said that really sticks out to me that I remember Dina saying very early on that I've kept in the top of my mind is you said basically people voluntarily need to come to this. And I think that one of the things, especially early days of Boys Club, it's we were very much we don't want to be in the business of convincing people that crypto is better and that they should get in this industry and that they should buy Bitcoin or Ethereum or Solana or whatever. We just want to create a space where if there's curiosity, there's an access point for people. And I think that in order for people to voluntarily opt into a new financial system, it has to be a better financial system. It has to do things that are inherently better than the existing one. And so I'm curious, there's the whole meta right now around bots and agents and agentic payments and where we're going with all of this and how stable coins are going to be their native language. And then I hear, and people are so excited about it in crypto. And they're we finally have this a perfect use case for, this technology. And then I talk to people in traditional finance, and some of them are why is it better than just traditional the rails that we currently have? And I guess my question to you would be, why do you think they are better than, traditional payment rails?
Yeah, these are great questions. I think one of the things that's interesting about our industry, and you guys are doing an amazing job creating that space for people to be curious about it. And one of the things I think is so important when you're being intellectually honest about something is to be vulnerable about what's working and what's not working yet. But I think one of the things that's most interesting about the work we do is that this whole financial system that's built on the internet can now be upgraded the same way that you can upgrade software, and it can improve over time. And so it's not like you built, a bank widget and put it on the shelf and that's just what it does. These products, these offerings are evolving very, very rapidly. I am optimistic about basically machine-to-machine payments, and I think it will in the not too distant future. It's quite likely that the preponderance of online e-commerce will be conducted predominantly by software, just making payments to other software systems. And so this doesn't necessarily mean that it's like robots walking up to the supermarket and buying something from another robot and pulling, cash out of their robot wallet and handing it to them.
That would be cool.
What it's going to look like. But maybe that'll happen a little bit. But what we're really talking about is automated computer systems that are just doing things on your behalf. So you might have a budget in your house to make sure your refrigerator always has a certain number of core items in it. And when the refrigerator detects it's run out of milk or eggs or orange juice, it makes those micro purchases and it keeps your inventory set. Your refrigerator is not going to walk down Fifth Street and go open a bank account with Bank of America and have a budget and get through a risk scoring and an onboarding and do KYC and AML and all that other stuff. But it can set up a crypto wallet instantly, and then you can give it a budget and it can start to operate. Where things get a little more fun is with what's described now as agentic AI. You're basically just having a CFO, arguably as something you can instruct, could perform all kinds of activity for you. Now that's like on a human level, like how it can benefit us in the not too distant future. But for software engineers and entrepreneurs who are building companies, you could see a future too where you're instructing basically all kinds of software to do stuff for you, run your customer service department, do your online billings, manage your utilities, and all that stuff would be conducted through a virtual exchange of instructions, which would also have payment details. And in order to facilitate all that, you have to have internet scale payments for all kinds of small transactions as well as big transactions. And if anyone who's listening has even recently tried to move money across a border or pay for something maybe more than a few $1,000s, I know that's a big transaction that are unusual, but if you were to do that, you might find your bank account being frozen or worse, being told you need to go into the branch and verify an ID and fill out some paperwork and do a wire. And these things, they existed for reasons in the past, where people are checking each other's work and so that funds would get sent to the right place. But that level of human intervention is no longer necessary. And so as the system basically upgrades, I think it's highly likely we'll have high throughput, high volume transactions online, both in stable coins and in digital assets and digital currency. So that, I don't think it's that far off, but we're probably more on the latter half of the next decade of that stuff hitting like really big scale. But I don't know anymore. Like the world's getting weird really quickly. And so it might happen faster than that.
I don't know if you read the Citrini article or not, but one of the bits in there that was honestly like the only thing that was kind of net positive for anyone was for our industry was around stable coins and agentic payments and agents like routing basically. And part of it was that the fees that credit card and bank intermediaries charge for transactions, there's going to come a point when this agent network is more mature and the plumbing is all set up. Those agents are going to look at those fees and say, I'm not going to pay that fee if I can go this other way using stable coins or whatever.
Yeah, it's like water flowing downhill. Like it's going to go to the place of least resistance.
Right.
Yeah.
And that makes a lot. I mean, I think it's probably chilling if you're Visa or MasterCard, but I think it makes a lot of sense for folks like us who've been working in this industry for so long when it's like, oh yeah, that is obviously what's going to happen. Part of me worries a little bit about an industry that has recently pivoted so hard to enterprise and institutional adoption and what that means in light of a world where agentic payments starts to be the thing that happens. Like,
that's a good question. I mean, I would ask you the question, what do you think is going to happen? And what are the risks and what do you see as a potential things that are overblown as risks?
I think that's a risk. I think the risk is that like we've seen this industry be like, oh, we need to cater to the institutions. That's where the real capital is. And we need to build all these things and get in bed with these folks who are doing that type of work. And I think that I understand why those decisions were made. And I agree I agree with a lot of it, but there is a little bit of like the writings on the wall around how agents are going to want to move money. And I just wonder if that pivot was maybe a little bit premature given like what's coming.
And it's a good. I think the answer will be we'll see.
Totally.
So we'll see. I don't know either, but the point about institutions getting involved in crypto is pretty. It was inevitable after a certain sort of scale and opportunity set. And remember, they spent a decade and a half fighting and arguing and saying this stuff would never work, and demonizing the participants and entrepreneurs and leaders in the space, and then eventually they go, oh, there's actually some interesting stuff here, and
they're like, never mind.
Also, you get some rising stars in these organizations that have been internally advocating, and they do pilot work, and like this is where like institutions just take by design much longer to adapt to change, and some of these institutions will survive and thrive with by adopting and improving and innovating in the future, and others won't.
Yeah.
And like I think the PayPal story is a fascinating one, where you had literally the darling of Silicon Valley payments, one of the most successful companies of all time, and now is trading a huge discount and is worth less than Coinbase. And so it's like the creative destruction is always happening. To me, it is just important to get back to some of the fundamentals and the roots, though, because I'm excited about institutions being excited, but that's not really why I got into all of this. I want to make sure all regular people are accessing rails that are at the same speed and efficacy as those institutions, because the institutions in the past have collected more for themselves and basically put up all kinds of barriers to access of their more advantageous financial products and services. And so now, instead of having, if you're a young entrepreneur, young person in the United States, you can set up a crypto wallet and you have basically access to a private bank in your pocket that has better rates than some of the most impressive institutional investment banks on Wall Street. So like, why would you bother going to give your business to those folks that are basically just taking your money and lending it out and doing all this high risk behavior? And so I don't know, just important to remember that all of it all comes together, and that's okay. But I'm here for the little guys in a lot of ways.
I love that. It's been so nice talking with you, Nick. And before we let you go, I'd love to hear a little bit about, you have an organization called Sky's the Limit. Could you tell us a little bit about that and what that organization is up to?
Yeah, thank you. I really appreciate the opportunity to talk about that too. There are two things I care about in the world. One is helping more people reinvent their relationship with money and the financial literacy and responsibility that comes with that. And I think we get to do amazing work at blockchain.com related to that. But the other thing is I really think we need a lot more entrepreneurs in the world, and we need a lot more entrepreneurs that look like the composition of our society. And in 2014, started working on skysthelimit.org. It's a charity, and it's focused on helping really early stage, first time entrepreneurs practice entrepreneurship. And you can build any kind of company. And we've got people from all 50 states and countries all over the world. They get access to entrepreneurship education, mentors and advisors that are people we recruit, real human beings that care about exchanging some of their time and talent and wisdom and social capital with entrepreneurs. And then finally, we have a small funding system as well, where we give away grants every single month to deserving young entrepreneurs. Last month, an entrepreneur one who is building a financial literacy program for young kids to help them learn some of the concepts as simple as saving and investing at an earlier age, so they don't become victims essentially of poor practices. Mm-hmm. And he was a really amazing entrepreneur that's been with us for a while. But yeah, we would welcome, if anyone's out there thinking about getting started, we're here to root for you and help you along your journey. It's not about a tech startup or trying to build a unicorn business. I think that's great if you have those ambitions, but all businesses start off as a small idea that's vulnerable and brittle, and it needs to get tested. You need to find customers and practice all of that. And we think that people can practice entrepreneurship just like you can practice hockey or figure skating or any skill. And we want more people to hopefully do that. And then if we do, then we can increase the standard of living, build more businesses, create more product and services that are useful and helpful, and hopefully create more prosperity for everybody. So that's the idea behind Sky's the Limit.
I love that so much. I'm so glad you're doing that work and love to see that out in the world. So skysthelimit.org, right, is where people can find. Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
Thank you.
Yeah. Nick, this was
cool.
so
Well,
nice.
I appreciate what you guys are doing. Spreading the gospel. Sometimes it feels a bit repetitive, but it's so important. And appreciate the opportunity to come visit with you today.
Thanks so much. Hope to have you on again.
All right. Cheers.
See ya. Okay. What a great guy.
That was great.
That was so great.
That was really great. I really enjoyed that conversation.
Me too.
And great energy, and just nice to talk to people who like he's clearly like a values led person.
Yeah.
And that's nice.
That's really nice. It's a really nice reminder. And I do often feel like many times when I talk to people who have been in this industry like 10 plus years, it's
what it takes.
It's what it takes.
Yeah.
It takes a true belief in like a new financial system, like genuinely believing that. And I just really, it's honestly like really heartening to talk to people who have that perspective still, and felt honestly like ministered to when he was talking about his organization. I was like, I believe there should be more entrepreneurs in the world too.
Yeah.
So I love to see that, and I love organizations that are helping people like be create enterprise and create work and jobs, and it's really fun. Okay, so we have one other guest who's joining us in a little bit.
She's joining us actually in 15 minutes. I spent so much time looking at, so Austin's in Central Time, Nashville's in Central Time, you're in Eastern Time in New York.
I see.
And I am constantly I'm constantly plus minus 1 hour, and honestly like not doing a great job of it. Like I get it confused. I get it backwards all the time. Like, I don't know what it is, but I have some sort of mental block around the time change and how to do it.
You do have a mental block. It's one of the reasons maybe you should consider moving back to New York.
The East Coast.
Just get back on this time zone.
And I will say, and myself and Ava from our team were both looking at the run of show for today's show.
Yeah.
We had 3 guests, and Katherine, who's going to be joining us soon, is also in Central Time. And so she is, yeah.
Okay,
and
you
so
would think that would help, but
it actually confused things, where I had thought that we had now an hour.
Yeah, you were like, we got at least 45 minutes to yap about other stuff.
We have 15 minutes.
We have a tight 15. Tight 15.
So anyway, I'm so sorry. At some point I need
it's okay.
Duolingo for time differences.
Totally.
To like really learn it.
Can I also just tell you, like, this is just kind of a nice thing. I was talking to someone yesterday. I have spent very little time with this person, and at one point he said, and it seems I was talking about work and how much I love my job and stuff like that, and he was like, and it seems like you really love your business partner, and I was like, we have talked very little about you, but I was like, oh my god, I love that came through. So
how did it come through? Right? How do you think it came through? Were you talking about Central Time? Or you're like, she's in Central Time, but I still like
I'm
her.
like, she's a fucking idiot when it comes to time zones, but I love working with her.
Oh, that's sweet.
Anyway, it was cute. It was a cute moment. I was like, oh yeah, I really do. Okay, what do we want to talk about?
Well, we have a lot of options. We have the Gucci AI campaign, men wearing shorts in this weather. Okay.
Oh, Gucci AI campaign, men wearing shorts. Yeah, I don't know. There's not a lot to men wearing shorts besides me saying men wearing shorts in this weather, performative, exclamation point.
Yeah.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
Yeah, unfortunately, really I have a kid who will wear. I have a performative weather child then as well.
I mean, I will say, but like, your child is performative. Like that's what he's doing. He's being performative. And like,
right. As an adult,
an adult man. Yeah. What are you doing? Anyway, that's a total aside. Doesn't matter. A few things happening. We can just hit on quickly. Jane Street has been accused of insider trading. They are being sued by Terraform Labs bankruptcy administrator. For those of you who do not know what this is, God bless you.
Yeah, happy for you.
Happy for you. Sad for me. Anyway, Jane Street is a high frequency trading firm, and there is allegations that they were insider trading to front run a huge crash that happened in 2022 between something called Terra USD, which was a stablecoin, and Luna, which was the token of the larger org, I guess. And anyway, big lawsuit happening. It's interesting. It's lots of money and lots of people pointing fingers, and it's interesting because when this was happening, I remember very, very very clearly this was happening, and I was I was trying to do all my jobs at the same time, and I was in Miami for my other job and I had like a little break, and I went and I had some lunch, and you called me and you were like, some stuff is going down and it's not good. And I was like, oh no. And you like kind of filled me in. And then the following 2 days, I went to West Palm Beach for permissionless. I think this was this crash, permissionless, the first permissionless. And there was a panel that was called, the title of the panel before the crash happened was algorithmic stable coins too good to be true.
Oh no.
Yeah. And it turned out they were. And I remember thinking like, oh, stable coins this is the death of stable coins. Like that's what I genuinely thought. But here we are. So
here we are. Speaking of Stripe, I mean, just Stripe to acquire PayPal, eyeing an acquisition of all of PayPal.
Yeah, they keep using this, which I don't know where this is coming from, but I'm seeing this all over. It's like Stripe considering acquisition of all of PayPal.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, okay,
not just the
one part of it,
just the website, but the whole of PayPal. I don't understand why they're saying that.
Which feels so crazy because I think I don't remember what year it was, but many years ago, 10 plus years ago, PayPal tried to acquire Stripe for I think $1 billion. And I think that is true. I hope that I'm not spreading misinformation, but crazy. And I think that right now, I can't remember what Stripe is. There was something here that I wanted some money stacked about it that was quite interesting that I wanted. 2012, there was an offer. That was the offer. And then Josh Kushner, who we also talked about last week, $2 billion investment in Stripe at a $50 billion valuation 2 years ago is looking really good right about now. And that's a quote tweet of a tweet from the block that said Stripe valuation jumps to $159 billion on the back of the offer. So lots of money.
Stripe stock options looking good right now. That's crazy
stuff. Okay, what are some?
I have just a feel good. We could talk about the Citrini article, but I don't know that we want to
Let's maybe pause.
We can maybe get to it, but I do just want to share very briefly what's happening with this woman on TikTok. That it's pretty niche. I don't think there's it's not that niche. There's 18,000 likes on this video, and it's got 1 million views, but it's not like I haven't seen it cross over to Twitter, for example.
Mainstream Twitter.
Yeah, mainstream Twitter. This woman last week, she puts out this video and it's basically like, I got a bad haircut and I'm trying to make the best of it. And like, she's like, this is what happened. I don't really know how to style it.
Okay.
And like everyone's
giving her advice
here, lay low for a while, also went viral, where it was like 1,600 comment likes on that, where people are like, ooh, yeah.
Ooh. Okay, yeah. I will say I have a few things to say here.
No, okay, wait, hold on. Let me tell the rest of the story. And then
great.
So lay low for a while did go viral, but I would say that most of the comments are very supportive, where it's like, great, let's figure this. Let's figure this out together.
Yeah.
And let's. And so basically, let me just pull up these next couple videos. It's been her getting suggestions from the crowd and trying out different styling options. So she went, she did like a slick back. She's like trying to slick back here. And then she's trying, someone was like, great, like try this other thing. And then today I was watching, the reason why I put it on the list is because someone said, you should try crimping it. That didn't work.
Oh no, that was a bad suggestion.
But like, she's just like game.
Oh my gosh, she's game.
She's game. And I think what I love about this and why I'm watching every single video is we all got a bad haircut. We all got it. And like, we're all in it together with her. And she has such a good spirit about it and such a good vibe about it. And is so game to like try the things that people are saying. It's just a feel good internet moment.
I love it. I love it so much. Two things that it brings up for me. and I'm going to need you to pull these up. One is the Fleabag show the reference.
Yes. Yes.
Because it is adjacent. It's not the same haircut, but it is similar in some capacities. And if you haven't seen Fleabag, this is season 2. It's her and her sister. Her sister gets a really bad haircut, and she shows up to the park, and she's like, what happened? And they were like, go on this whole thing about having a good hair day as a woman it's everything. And it's one of my favorite scenes of all time. They're like, I think his name is Antoine. Yeah, there's haircut. And she tells her it's French, which is so funny. And then she was like, did Antoine do this to you? And she was like, yes. And she was like, we're going there right now, and we're confronting him. They go to the salon. They go into the salon. They're like, where's Antoine? Antoine comes out, and she's like, how could you have done this to her? And he just goes, show the reference. And then she pulls up a photo, and it is the exact haircut. Like, it is this haircut. And we've all done that, where we've seen something, we thought, I can pull that off. And we can't usually you cannot. Okay, that's one.
Kate dropped this reference in. I saw this one too. This was this other woman who went viral, who tried to recreate this hairstyle that was on the red carpet. And she...
Don't do that.
It didn't work.
It doesn't work.
And these I think what's so like captivating about these clips is because we're all realizing it in real time. Like this woman was realizing it.
Yes.
We as the watcher are realizing it, and she's like really honest about like how
it's a collective moment. It's a collective
moment.
Yeah.
It's a collective moment. And
okay, I have one other one. And this was really it like hit me to my core, because I was just like, okay, if it can happen to her, it can happen to literally any of us. Emily Ratajkowski this year did a video. She turned it into like a paid promotional for, I think, like some hair wash, which I respect so much. She was like, you've got to pull it up. She was like, I have gotten the worst bangs anyone has ever seen ever. And I'm like, Emily Ratajkowski is arguably one of the most beautiful women in the world. And she was like, I was in Paris. I was in a hotel with like my glam team. This new hairstylist was there. And she was like, maybe we should do bangs. And he's like, yeah, let's do bangs. And she was like, one thing led to another. And she got bangs. And the bangs started like back here.
Mm-hmm.
And like, there was literally nothing she could do. And like all these people, she was doing the same thing, where she was like, there it is. Like, what is that? What has happened here? And she was like, there's nothing I can do. Like, I don't know. Like, I can't middle part it. I can't pin them back. Like, this is what it is. I'm wearing a hat for the next like 3 months. And anyway, it's just nice to know that even that woman has had a moment where she thought she could pull something off. And
we've all been there.
We've all been there. Anyway, great feel good story. I really love that.
A really good feel good story. Okay, from feel good to not feel good. Just in the 4 minutes that before our next guest joins us, the Citrini article.
Okay.
So basically, this is a post that goes up on the Substack. I think on Sunday night. I think it was over the weekend.
Okay.
And it's a very long read, and the writer is basically laying out a vision for the future. It's written like from the perspective of it's June 2028, and I'm reporting what's happening. It's science fiction, basically. I mean, it's essentially science fiction, and he's writing like his take of what the economy and society is going to look like as a result of AI going really, really well, like that it exceeds expectation in terms of what agentic commerce, like all the stuff that we've been talking about. And AI explodes, and there's like a cascading effects that happen across the economy. And basically like the thesis is that the consumer economy collapses essentially because all the money and all the jobs and all the work gets like sort of filtered through compute and captured by compute and gets captured by these AI companies. And then the work that humans have been doing previously it like that doesn't no longer exists, and then they're no longer getting paid, and they're no longer paying taxes, and they're no longer buying things, and what that does to the consumer economy. And there's this concept in it that's called ghost GDP, which is the top line stats of the economy actually look relatively healthy, and like we're still like there's still a lot of output, but that this whole sector of the consumer economy is flatlining. And it went viral. It maybe or maybe not crashed the markets on Monday.
So in the article, there were specific companies that were named.
Yeah, so DoorDash, Visa. Yeah, there's a bunch. Like there's a bunch.
And those specific stocks were hit. So it is like hard to not draw some correlation between those. Between those, I will say one example. So our friend Elena.
Yes, I want to pull Elena up. So love to see a friend win.
Love to see it. She did a TikTok. I saw how I found this video was actually not even on TikTok. It was a tweet that someone had a screenshot of her, and I found this to be a huge compliment. I hope she does too. Like something along the lines of like, it's serious when the e-girls are explaining the Citrini Doomsday article. And I was like, is that Elena? And then like I went and found it, and I was like, first of all, crushed it. Second of all, totally. Going viral. I'm so happy for her. Anyway, and third, it was really well done. The reason it's going viral.
Really well done. Yeah, everyone should watch this. I'm going to drop a link to it in the chat. She does a great explainer.
Yes, she does. And one of the things that really stuck out to me in this explainer is that like brought to life how in like a very tangible way, how the economy is gonna get fucked is basically it's like, okay, if agents are, let's take agentic payments, let's think about that we all have our agents that are doing things on our behalf, and they are optimizing so much of our lives for efficiency, for like finding the best price, finding the most efficient path to that price. And so using the example of DoorDash and saying like, okay, every night at 7 p.m., these are my requirements for what I'd like to eat. I want to have these macros, whatever. And then basically your agent goes, it's finding that the most efficient version of that request. What happens with humans is like you have your spots, you have the places you like. You're like, actually, I'm going to get this burrito. I know Tacoma. I know they'll be here in 20 minutes. Like there's an inefficiency that is inherently baked into the human experience that allows for the economy to exist in the way that it does today, where you have things
brand loyalty,
favoritism, whatever. And all of that goes to the wayside. And then we live in sort of this, I don't know, like what's the drink that
Soylent
future.
I just want to call just quickly before our guest joins. This tweet really got me this morning. Citrini is Ray Dalio for people who bought Mac Minis. I'm like read to absolute.
Oh my God, it's you.
It's me.
You need to respond with that the Facebook thing that's like, I'm in this photo and I don't want to be tagged.
Absolutely read to filth.
Wow.
It's crazy. Okay, shall we get Katherine up on the stage here? Okay, great. Hi, Katherine.
Hey.
How's it going?
Good. How are you guys?
Great. It's nice to meet you. It looks like you have like a library behind you. Like you look very well read.
I do. This is my Southwest 90s themed office.
Wow, I love that. I love it. It's so nice to meet someone that I followed on Twitter. It's always a good moment.
It's fun.
Yeah,
it is. Okay, so Katherine, aka Default Friend, which do you prefer actually? How do you prefer to be? I don't know what your preference is.
You can call me Katherine, whatever.
Great, I'll call you Katherine. Okay, you write about internet history and culture. You've definitely seen her on X at Default Friend. Default.blog is where a lot of your work lives, but you've been published everywhere. Such a fan of your work, and I just am so honored to have you on the show. So thank you so much for taking the time.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me.
Okay, there's a lot that we can chat about. I pulled a couple of your recent hits, and then I know Natasha, we wanted to do some manosphere work with you. But I figured we could start with a piece that you wrote recently around AI generated cryptids. Feels like a great place to start. And cryptids, for folks who aren't familiar with that as a term, is like mermaids or dragons or Bigfoot or things that were like are in folklore and have sort of been like mythical creatures or characters. Is that a good way to characterize them?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like animals that aren't verified.
Right. Nice. Tell us about your piece, and then I have a bunch of stuff I want to chat with you about it. But tell us sort of what you wrote about.
Yeah, I noticed something. I've noticed a couple of strange things. It seems like there's a paranormal moment right now, just sort of in general. Like people are returning to story times, but the story times are like ghost stories. So it's like, get ready with me's. Usually like these will be about like dates or what have you, but a lot of them are about ghosts. It's like campfire stories, and they have beginnings, middles, and ends. And sometimes they're warnings, and sometimes it's their observations. And part of this paranormal revival that I've been noticing across platforms is people sharing AI generated photos and videos of cryptids. So like in particular, like mermaids, a lot of different like ghosts, come up a lot. And it's like there seems to be a recognition like, okay, this is AI generated. It's not real. It's not like people are falling for the AI. They accept that it's not a like it's not capturing physical reality. But they're like, okay, but plausibly, yes, there are mermaids, and also the elites are eating them. Like this is an illustration of what can be. And this is like a realistic version of of what actually exists, but we don't have the actual footage captured.
I see. Okay. Wait, can I just ask you a quick question?
Sure.
So there are a group of people that believe that these things are happening genuinely?
Yes.
Okay. Yes. Okay. And they are now saying, here is my AI generated version of it, but like this is true.
Right. True. So it's like there's an acceptance of like, okay, this isn't an actual dragon. This isn't an actual mermaid. This isn't actually Bigfoot. But it's like treated like an illustration. Like this is like the AI has some kind of secret knowledge where it like,
okay,
no, it's like this is a realistic depiction, even though it's not literally being captured by another person.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. You wrote here, it's not literally true, but it's a type of true.
Right.
I just don't know really what to do with that. Like, what do we do with that?
So how I think of it is like illustrations of like unicorns and like medieval bestiaries. I don't know what to do with it either. I mean, it seems to me like we're when you hear about like the return of magic, it sort of disproportionately focuses on things like witchcraft and astrology. And that's, in some sense true. I think astrology's probably always been popular. It's just that now we have like a million apps to help us navigate it. But I think it's like even more than that, like people seem more comfortable with ascribing unexplained things to monsters in this case. And part of this is like, thinking AI is alive is another manifestation of, I think, the same impulse. There's so many different ways that it shows up. Even like some like folk diets and like folk medicine seems to be another version of like there's this sort of like magical instinct that's coming back.
Do you think maybe that's just human nature, and that these new tools are just expressing it at scale in a way that's very hyper connected, so we're seeing it, but like that always has just been the case and there's always a truth?
I think it's part of it. I think that's definitely part of it. I also think that maybe there's more openness to it to people who might not have been as open-minded previously because there's just so much information.
Mm.
And a lot of these things like help make it legible.
Makes sense.
Yeah, it helps us like navigate. I also think like there's just like a thirst for storytelling more generally. You know, people want like they want like containment somehow, and this is how it's showing up. You know, without it, it's like just this. I think I was describing it to someone a couple of days ago. Like it's like a river of information, and if you get in, like you're gonna drown.
I want that. I want some storytelling to make sense of this. I'm like, yeah, I mean, and I guess I do ascribe like the sort of like sentient AI stuff. I'm not like totally like off the deep end about it, but a little bit. And I think that maybe that's my way of like trying to cope with this river of information and like trying to find a paddle in it. Maybe that's just what I'm doing too.
I mean, it's scary. Like people always caution against anthropomorphizing LLMs, but it's like it's kind of like it's easier to think about them if we think of them as like a another phrase I used recently, non-human person, right? Like it's something like a person, it's not human.
Yeah.
My sort of strategy with LLMs is like you should treat them with respect, not because they're literally people, but because it's just like it's close enough, and I think it's probably like bad for your disposition and your soul to like be treating it like an ATM or like a vending machine or being really rude to it, because it's like the interaction really isn't that different from a text-based interaction with another person.
You're like training yourself to, you could create some really bad habits with your relationship with AI that bleed into your relationship with real people,
right,
if you let it. I also think there's something related to like so much of a conversation with the chatbot is affirming. It's like affirming your beliefs, affirming what you want to hear. Like it's making you, giving you permission for whatever you're looking for permission for. And so I think I can imagine if you have a lean towards the mythical and the fantastic, and then you start to get into a conversation with a chatbot about that, it's going to like really solidify your beliefs in something that you were wanting and looking for like permission around. So
this used to be true, definitely. And then there is, I mean, people were going nuts, right? There's all of these high profile stories of AI psychosis, which I have like a lot of opinions on, you know, because I don't think the AI was like causing it. Obviously it was like latent within the person to begin with. But now, you know, I talk to LLMs all the time about all sorts of things. And, you know, some of that is magically oriented. Like something I love to do with Claude is like design a graduate level seminar on XYZ occult topic. It's really good at that. And I'll come up with like lectures and like I feel like I really learn, but I have to be careful about how I word the request and how often, because now like, and this is true on ChatGPT as well, it'll be like, are you doing okay mentally? Like magic isn't like real, just so you know.
Oh,
like,
wow.
Yeah. So it's
wellness check.
Very careful. And if you like it, I don't know if you guys are in the new age community at all or seeing any like new age posts, but people were going like really off the deep end with using it as like an oracle.
Whoa.
It does get really kind of dicey, especially with people who were already predisposed to seeing signs and patterns where there weren't any. And now there's like really strong safeguards where I think like a recent example is I saw like 3 different types of red birds in one day. And I was like, is there any like symbolic, you know, meaning behind this? And it was like, the ChatGPT was like, there is, but just so we're on the same page, it's like there's the symbolism exists within folklore and literature. It's not like it doesn't mean anything for your actual life, just so like you know.
Yeah. It was like, oh, just so we're on the same page. Like
it's like, you good? You okay? Wow, so interesting. Okay, I want to get also into the story about reborn dolls.
Yeah.
that you wrote. So can you just give the listener sort of like a high level about this piece and what it's on?
Yeah, it's about people who role play with reborn dolls, which are highly realistic baby dolls. Some of these role plays can be like super disturbing for people, I think. Like there's one woman I follow, and even for me, I'm a little bit like, wow, like she's 34, 35 years old. That's a horrifying photo. Let me just say,
Very scary.
Most of them aren't that scary. They're like cute. They're very cute. They do look like babies, and they're very expensive, and there's a craft to making them, and many people make their own. There's a lot to the subculture, but so I follow this woman, and she's I'm pregnant right now, and she's reborn pregnant, and sometimes she calls it like plastic pregnant. And the pregnancy is the duration of time that it will take for this really this piece of artwork to be custom made for her. And she treats the dolls as though they're children. She takes them places, and she's playing with them, but she's an adult. I think like certainly there's an unhealthy element to this. Usually when people write about reborn dolls, it is the more toxic element to it. I did read one very like touching profile of a woman who had a cognitive disability, who used it to like have a sense of responsibility, and there was like a therapeutic dimension. I think those types of pieces are more rare, but I think like you don't have to be like terminally lonely or have a disability. I think it's an expression of play that seems maybe like off-putting to an outsider, but I don't know that there's actually anything wrong with it. I think everyone likes to play, and this is just one stranger expression of it.
I think what I really love about your writing generally, and it's certainly expressed in this piece, but I think is also in the cryptids piece, is that you get so deep on niches and subcultures and communities on the internet. Like you're one of one at doing that type of work. And when you write about it, you really have like you have space and compassion, and you take like what's often like kind of the hard stance, like with this reborn dolls piece, like the easy take is like, these people are freaks, this is a weirdo thing to do, and like it's crazy, like let's all ha 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 like point and laugh at them, and like and that and you always seem to like really have space for people. Sorry, I have a blower here, but I just want to say that like I really loved that in this piece, and I think you specifically like this line here: reborns violate a very specific taboo by encouraging adults to play at being mothers. Like this is really generous, and I think I just love it.
Yeah, it's not the obvious take, and that's a much harder thing to get to, I think, than what's right there.
I think something I've realized too is like, and this is going to sound so, like so corny, but like everyone kind of has something like that. And it's so much easier to like see how things really aren't that weird if you make that comparison.
Mhm.
I think because there's like just a few sort of fundamental needs that show up super often in a lot of different people, and it's easy to forget. And some people the way it's expressed is a little bit more eccentric.
To me, it's adjacent to Disney adults. Does that check out to you or no?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I think with Disney adults, there's also sort of like a sense of accomplishment and like cataloging of experiences. But I mean, yeah, of course, there's like a huge dimension of like play and fantasy with the Disney adult.
Yeah. Wow, super interesting. Okay, I want to spend a little bit of time here in our last few minutes talking to you about the manosphere and clavicular and Lookmaxxing, and just like what's your like take? Like what's your high level feeling on all of it?
Well, I've been kicking myself for like months now because I saw like 14-year-olds making edits of him on TikTok like months and months and months ago. And I was like, I've got to interview this guy because he has like a cult and I reached out to him and we like scheduled something, but then I was kind of like, it's you know, there's so many of these guys, he's not gonna whatever. And I dropped the ball.
Brutal.
You were
And now-
early. You were so early.
I know, and now he's everywhere. And I'm like, I really missed an opportunity there. With clavicular, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think part of the appeal, and you know, someone else said this on Twitter, that he's like sort of like this folk hero who like wanders around and has experiences. I think a lot of the more controversial scenes and figures who become popular, like something that is underappreciated about them is they're doing something with real people in the physical world, even if our like consumption of it is mediated. And here's three, I mean, maybe interrelated, but like pretty different examples. Like Will Stansel. Like Will Stansel is a political figure. He's on the left, but he's like, the left doesn't really like him. The right has this very weird relationship with him. He's become a meme, but like something really interesting about him is a lot of our like window into who this person is not just posts, not just takes. It's him like wandering around Minnesota doing things in the physical world. So we have like a really strong sense of place and like who he is as a person and a character. Dime Square was sort of another example of this, where it's like, you know, whatever you think of it, it's people who are meeting up in the physical world doing physical things. And then now we have Clavicular, who like our only knowledge of him is like through clips, but he's not like, sometimes he's in front of his computer, but for the most part he's like at the club, at the same like weird suit shop in Miami. Like he's doing things. And I think that's part of what makes these people so entertaining. And I like, if someone wanted to like hack success, you know, somehow, or like become a social media figure, like something I would recommend is like have a strong sense of place out in the physical world. Because I think there's like a real thirst for that, even if we haven't like quite articulated it yet.
Wow, really interesting.
You did a profile on him though. I remember it came out.
Yeah,
right?
I wrote. A profile is generous. I wrote.
Okay.
I had like an op-ed about him. Yeah, I think like November, December.
That was my first touch point with him, where I was like, okay, this is Catherine's on it. I'll dig in now. And that was my first experience, and it's gone. Yeah. I think one under discussed part about Clavicular is, or maybe not under discussed, but like I don't see a lot of like main headlines about it, is that he uses like crystal meth, like open, like he says it, and and that's like very much a part of like, and he says it without shame and like not with pride, but he certainly says it like casually. And I feel like that is perhaps the most toxic part, or certainly one at the top of the list of like how he's showing up for young men is also with crystal meth use. Like it's funny, he's funny, ha ha ha, he's kind of this like jester maxing whatever, but like I don't know that we should be like talking about that with I don't know.
Yeah, he's definitely like, I would say he's like toxic across like multiple axes.
Totally.
Like, we shouldn't encourage anyone to, which, you know, it's also really interesting is like a lot of women sort of have gone through this mindset that Clavicular represents. And I would say it's like a spectrum. Like you have people who are sort of like dip their toe into like pro-Ana stuff online, and then it gets all the way up to like subreddits, which I think now like banned now, but Vindicta, which was like a Lookmaxxing subreddit for women. And there's many different communities about this of like, oh, your mid face is too long, like that idea is something I wasn't introduced to like via incels, but through like women who had like very harsh standards for themselves. And the first time I heard about this stuff, it was called pink pill science, the idea that like women will only be evaluated on their looks, and actually the standards are so much more unforgiving than, and this was like in the 2000s, so like even then, right, like it was like so it's like interesting to see it like come up for men now, and like women now, like I feel like even if you're not full bore like body positivity, there's been like a real backlash to this kind of thinking, both in the niche online sense, but also like how it showed up in the mainstream. Like I just watched the reality check, the America's Next Top Model documentary, and I feel like there's like even women who kind of like tacitly endorse this type of thinking, like they know like this is wrong and toxic and it makes me unhappy and like I hate it and like maybe we shouldn't, and like I'm gonna go to South Korea and get, you know, have cadaver collagen injected into me anyway, but also like this is messed up.
Totally. It's been crazy to see the clips from America's Next Top Model and just like be brought back to that time on the internet and what I was raised on and in. And I also think there's something, it's interesting because I feel like all of the conversation around cosmetics and aesthetic optimization for women specifically, I can't speak to the men's experience, but there's this new wave of a radical transparency around what people have done, how they're doing it, why they're doing it, whatever. Like you see the Kylie Jenners and the Alex Earls and whatever talking about like exactly how their breasts were augmented and like, you know, the doctor they went to and all of that. Or like this influencer I follow, like a lower bleph, and here's what the 3 weeks of recovery looks like or whatever. And I have such mixed feelings about it. On one hand, I think it's like so cool to just own that you have things that you have changed about yourself and to not be pretending that like a lot of the way that women show up in today's society is augmented in some capacity. But then there's also this like there's an inherent permission that's given in having it be so transparent and discussed so publicly, and I think it's it's
normalized. It's normalizing in
Yeah.
a way that like when you take a step back from it, you're like, wait, hold on.
Yeah, totally.
It's tough. I mean, I think there's definitely like a steel man for plastic surgery. I think it actually like we in a way, I mean, this I feel bad saying this, but like it does make, you know, in certain situations it makes people happier, and having that control over your appearance is like not necessarily a bad thing. But there are so many like examples of it just like spiraling out of control, which is what we see in Clavicular, who it's like he like surely he knows he's like impacting his health. I don't want to say he's cutting his life short because like there's, you know, who knows, right? But like he like I think what's disturbing about him, like probably, you know, particularly for like adults, is like he seems to know like I am hurting myself and like that cost is worth it to look the way I do.
Dark.
Which I think is what's disappeared for women.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, you know, it's there's still toxicity, but like maybe there's like more safety. I see a lot more like warnings.
Yeah. Whoa, interesting. Okay, I feel like we should end on maybe like a happier note. I'm curious what on the internet has brought you like joy recently.
So before I go to bed every night, I do like an hour of TikTok, which is maybe like embarrassing to just like freely admit. But I keep getting like served these videos of like, I think children who create these like photo collages of countries they've made up. And the collages like are repurposing all those like ephemeral TikTok aesthetics or like weird nostalgia stuff. And they're storytelling, and they're like describing like, this is what it's like to live in this country. This is what we eat. This is what people wear.
That's
this
so
is why
fun.
It's different.
I love
it's
it.
So
That's so
cute.
fun.
And I love them. And there's so many of them.
Okay.
How do I you gotta drop us a link or something. I want to.
Yeah, you'll have to
I'll like go through I fave like all of them. They all have like 20 likes. But yeah, I'll go through and find them. But it's like a really, like, speaking of play, it's a really like sweet expression of play.
Yeah. Wow, I really love that. Catherine, thank you so much. It was such a pleasure to have you on. And we love your writing and your tweeting so much. And so I'm so honored to have gotten some time with you.
Thanks for having me. Have a great day.
Bye. See you later.
Bye.
Wow, fun
fun.
conversation.
I just want to say, I know clavicular is toxic. I only brought up the crystal meth stuff as one thing.
I think that
okay.
is
He's
very
racist. He's sexist. Like he's a hateful person on many levels, and I just want to just set the record straight that like
you heard it here first.
With his drug use is one part of it. I guess my point is that like I think that he's being normalized, and like people are using him as like a punchline, and like he shouldn't be for all of these reasons. And I don't know. I think that's kind of what I'm
I got absolutely red to filth this weekend. I was with some people, young men who are Gen Z, and I was like, so do you guys like watch the clavicular stream? And they were like, what? Boomer. Like literally we're like, boomer. And I was like, what? And they're like, nobody watches the stream. Like nobody watches the stream.
Yeah.
Like, it's just the clips. Like we're just watching the clips. Like that's honestly embarrassing. And I was like, look, I'm 33 years old. Like give me a fucking break. Okay.
Yeah,
like
totally.
Young
honestly, if you did know that would be embarrassing.
Thank you. Thank you.
I also think that like there's another like way into the story, which I saw someone do this past week, was about the economy of the clips farming that surrounds him, and that there's the clip farming movement industry, cottage industry, like can like choose winners and heroes, and like that's kind of what there's a machine behind him and his clips that has made a lot of those clippers a lot of money. And I think that that's like part of the rise for him. And I'm sure there'll be a countless number of equally, if not more problematic people behind him doing the same thing.
I can't wait. Can't wait.
One thing that I do want to say that she brought up the story, the feel good story about the kids making up countries. I have been seeing, and I watch every single one of them that comes over my feed, this really stupid, very, very stupid, and also problematic, and like very it's problematic on many levels. Form of a TikTok video AI edit, which is it takes a famous person and does transitions to, this is what this famous person would look like if they lived
you sent me this.
I sent you one. I sent you the Donald Trump one. And
you sent it to me, and honestly, I have to tell you, Dina. I'll explain what it is.
So it's like, here's Donald Trump, and it's clearly AI, and it goes
this is what he would look like if he was from South Korea.
Kate dropped something in the chat that I also do want to talk about. This is what Donald Trump would look like if he was from Korea. This is what Donald Trump would look like if he was from India. This is what Donald Trump would look like. And also, in addition to changing the way he looks and his race, they also change his name. So it's like they give him like a Korean kind of name that sounds like Donald Trump, except it's like in Korean. And here's the ones I've seen so far. I have seen Donald Trump. I watched that whole thing end to end. I watched Sydney Sweeney had one that went really viral. That Kate also, I'm seeing her in the chat. Kate watched that one. Hilarious. They're so funny. And then also this morning I watched Michael B. Jordan. That was a really interesting one. They made him go around the world. And Justin Bieber. They brought him everywhere.
Kate just said Snoop Dogg.
I have not seen the Snoop Dogg one. You have to send me the Snoop Dogg. I don't know what it is about these videos. They are like catnip for me. I know
they really are. You sent it to me, and I have to be honest with you. I watched just the first, just to get the premise, and then I was like, I'm not watching.
Totally. I respect that. I don't know what it is. Why? What? Kate, did you give me a thumbs up, thumbs down? Did you watch it?
Yeah, she watched. She's locked in. Okay, one quick thing in the Manosphere news. There's like the number 2 ranked Chad guy. I think you should maybe pull this up. He was in some like college town streaming, and another person pulled off his hat that had hair in it, so it was that he was wearing a wig. And it's being called a generational aura fail. Like it's being like, they're saying that it's over for him. I personally think that this was staged.
Totally. I totally am with you.
And he's like, I'm going to Turkey, and I'm like, oh, he probably has some like paid partnership with
Sponsor.
some Turkey like aesthetic clinic, and it's all there was a creative brief, and he did execute on it.
He did, but you got to follow the money in moments like this. And you have
Oh,
to- you
number
have
2
to-
ranks Chad has to go get some. He's unemployable, so
Yeah.
do your job now. Okay, well, I feel a little bit of guilt for giving so much space and airtime to those men, but whatever. It is what it is.
Next week we'll have some sort of palate cleanser.
And by those men, I mean obviously Clavicular and Chad.
Oh,
And
totally.
Yeah, okay. Just to be clear, I loved all of our guests today. I thought they were great.
Me too. Me too. Okay, I'm gonna
okay.
go. I'm gonna go get into my heels and my
Yeah,
dress.
I want to see your blowout and blazer. Put a kitten heel on. Get a nice little ring curl going. And let us know how it goes.
I will. We'll see you next week.
Okay, bye.